A Blissful Consults member writes in the following: Dear Dr. Cammy, I am starting in a new relationship and I'm so eager not to mess it up by reliving past trauma and projecting it onto my new partner. What advice might you give to me to work through my past traumas, for example, feeling violated by men and abandonment issues with my father, without actually having to confront the people that were involved in my trauma? Do you have a question similar to this or just eager to know the answer? The link for the answer is in my bio. This is such a wonderful question because it really touches on several important themes in the context of couples, relationships, in the context of one or more partners having a history of trauma. And what I would suggest in going into a new relationship is to recognize that there is a new page, a blank slate, and that is really freeing and it's really inviting and exciting. It can also be a little bit intimidating. So remember that the new page you're turning is actually in the book that is yours from your entire life. And to extend the metaphor a little bit further, you're actually combining narratives with your partner. And so it's not just your book and then their book, and you have to figure out your book and they have to figure out their book, and then you will perfectly merge two stories. It is helpful in the beginning of a new relationship to be unencumbered in terms of sharing what you're going through and what you're struggling with your significant other. Now, that does not mean the projecting and having them experience real time your struggles. That means taking an inventory of your struggles, working through the languaging around them. That could be with a therapist, it could be with a coach, it could be with a friend. You can also do a lot of this work in a journal on your own and then explaining it to your significant other, and your significant other then relating to what you're explaining. This allows some symbiosis in terms of how are we going to relate to this issue, my trauma history, together, as opposed to it's me and my trauma history. I need to figure it out, and then I'm going to have my partnership. One of the first steps is both partners sharing their baggage. Baggage that can sometimes be really beautiful and fancy and nice, and baggage that can also be a little bit heavy and dark, and there might be some shame around sharing. These preliminary beginning conversations can often, it can help to have a therapist or a coach guiding you through them. And the reason for this is because it's really difficult to put some of these tender parts of our history into language, particularly when we're also trying to balance the dynamics of a new relationship and also to create space for the other person to share their experiences and their thoughts as well. I will also say that by virtue of you asking this question, it means that you have an awareness that there are things that happened in your past that may be showing up in your relationship in ways that you might not want, or you're foreseeing that they could show up in ways that you might not want. Insight in an awareness is the first step in creating change. And the fact that you have that awareness is really profound and really important. It also doesn't necessarily mean you will know how to do it. And again, that's where a trauma therapist or a coach can be extremely helpful. I hear your vision for your relationship, and I also hear you say, I'm not quite sure how to get there. So one thing to start you off is to do a personal inventory on what you're going through and how that might impact your relationship. Share that with your partner as an initial step. And as you continue moving through the process, consider getting some help from a trusted professional or loved one.